Shalom. Yahweh Shem Al Shai, Bashem Rakakadash Brakathum. I want to give all the praise and the glory and the honors to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahweh Shai, Bashem, Rakakadash. I also want to give the honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone and rule well and that teach well through the spirit and the power of Yahweh Bashem Al Shai. Wa Shalom, Wa Barakim to the hopeful elect, begin with 144,000, which are scattered abroad and in every place, redeemed the time, ready to be saved. Shalom. Alright, I want to go into this topic real quick while I have the time, alright, before I head to the plantation, so this won't be a long-winded lesson, alright, but I want to start right here in Matthew 25 in 14. It says, for the kingdom, and this is Yahweh Shai, obviously you see the words are red. It said, for the kingdom of heaven is as a man traveling into a far country, who called his own servants. Alright, and we are those servants that were called. Alright, how are we called? Through the ministry. Alright, through the our elders and apostles. Alright, it said who called his own servants. Alright, and delivered unto them his good, and delivered unto him his goods. Alright, and that would be this truth, this wisdom and knowledge. Alright, so the knowledge that we have belongs first to Yahweh Shai. Alright, understand as it says in what's that, St. John Salakia. Wait. Okay, St. John, I believe it's the wait. Yeah, what scripture is that? Salakia. I believe it's in St. John. Alright. Alright, Salakia. I believe it's in the first chapter of John. Let me see something. Yeah, Salakia. But I really want to get this scripture because, like I said, this knowledge that we have, or that has been imparted unto us, first belong unto Yahushua. Right? Alright, this is, let me get Ephesians chapter 4 and 7. Ephesians chapter 4 and 7, it says, But unto every one of us is given grace, right, according to the measure of the gift of Yahushua. You see? There you go. But unto every one of us is given grace, according to the measure of the gift of Yahushua. You see that? So, we read this again. It says in Matthew 25:14, For the kingdom of heaven is as a man traveling into a far country, who called his own servants and delivered unto them his goods. Right. And delivered unto them his goods. And unto one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, and to another 1, to every man according to his several ability. You see that? And straightway took his journey. So what this is a dark saying of the prophets, the apostles, the teachers receiving their portions. All right, some receive more than the other, some receive less than the other. Okay, but what I want to get into is, for those that have the least, we shouldn't be afraid to, or shouldn't that shouldn't be an excuse. That shouldn't give us an excuse to lack in his ministry. The doing lessons. All right, because the Lord wants you to use that portion that you have to, with all your heart, with all your strength. All right, because even though that you have little, that don't mean that you're not important. You have some powerful prophets that were given less than Isaiah, Jeremiah. All right, you got prophets like Hosea, Obadiah. He only had 1 chapter, and all of it is powerful, man. All right, Jude. Okay, you see, these are men that receive less portions. Okay, but they didn't give them an excuse to lack. All right, no, they showed off their small portions, and they were proud of it. Okay, they were proud to have that that least portion, because some have none. All right, they come into this thing and they really don't understand. Before you know it, they removed. Their candlestick is removed. All right? And that's just the way it is. We should be just thankful for the portion that we have received, whether it's great or least. All right? So I'm going to read that again. He said, unto one he gave 5 talents, and unto another 2, and to another 1. All right? To every man according to his several ability. All right, so you might not be the brother that can go into all type of history like the next brother. You might not be good in articles. All right, but you may be well at going into the scriptures. Precept upon precepts, coming up with good topics. All right. You see, and you exercise that, to the fullest, man, and to the end. You see that? Let's get Isaiah. Because you're going to have men that have less portions. But you use them, man. Alright? Alright, this is Isaiah 34:16. It says, "Seek ye out the book of the Lord." And what's the book of the Lord? The Bible. Alright? So we really ain't got no business reading, trying to get information out of the book of Enoch. All these, fairy tale books. Now we get our information from these holy scriptures. They tell us everything we need to know. Everything. Alright? So yeah, it says, "Seek ye out the book of the Lord and read." Right? No one of these shall fail. Yeah, the prophecies that's in this book. It said, "None shall want her mate, for my mouth it hath commanded." Right? "And his spirit it hath gathered them." Right? The prophets. Alright? It's lucky. It has, my spirit had gathered them, and he had cast the lot for them. You see that? And he had cast a lot for them, and his hand had divided it unto them by line. You see? So we don't all receive the same portion. And it's not, when it comes to his knowledge and wisdom, because that's not that's a false balance. All right. He said, and he hath cast a lot for them, and his hand had divided unto them by line. Right, the prophets. He said, "They shall possess it forever." Right, so you're gonna have that same portion. If you had the least portion back then, you're gonna continue to have that portion every time you come back. Matter of fact, when you go into the book of Daniel, Slacky, I don't know what I'm doing. Daniel 12, Daniel chapter 12, when you get to the last verse, it says, "But go thy way till the end be, for thou shalt rest." All right, meaning he shall die in that lifetime. All right. It says, "But go thy way till the end be, for thou shalt rest and stand in thy lot at the end of the days." Right. So when you go into the word lot, it means portion. All right. So Daniel was told that he would come back in the end of days, which is now. So this proves that Daniel is back today. All right. And he has the same portion that he has had. All right. Which is a lot, man. All right. But back to Isaiah 34:17, so he hath cast the lot for them, and his hand had divided unto them by line. they shall possess it forever. That's right. From generation to generation shall they dwell therein. Whoo! This one of my favorites right here, man. All right, because this shows you this reincarnation. So those prophets are back. Like I said, Daniel, Isaiah, Jeremiah. Prominent men are back on the scene, man. Here in Babylon the Great, more than likely. All right. You see? So, whether it be you have a small portion, we still use it. All right. I want to get this in the Book of Tobit. Tobit chapter 1, and this is the Book of Tobit. All right. Wait, let me see. It says, verse 7: Give alms of thy substance, and when thou givest alms, let not thine eye be envious, neither turn thy face from any poor, and the face of the Most High shall not be turned away from thee. See? And spiritually, it's talking about the 100% truth. I mean, the full knowledge, full truth. Right? That's the face of the Most High. All right? So you don't want that to be turned away from you, man. All right? Then it says, verse 8, if thou hast abundance, right? If you have abundance of knowledge, a greater part of this portion of Yahushai is measured. All right? Give alms accordingly. All right, because when we give this truth, when you go into the word alms, it just means what? Money, food. All right, that's what it means. Giving money, food, and spiritually, what? This knowledge is known as food and money. All right, that's why I went into the first in Matthew the 25th chapter, talk about talents that was given. That's money. Meaning that was talking about the knowledge. All right. Wisdom. All right. It said, if thou hast abundance, give alms accordingly. Right. All right. You have a lot of knowledge, you give a lot. Okay. You got a great abundance. That's why Apostle Tahar, he can do about 3 videos a day. You see, he's doing what the scripture told him to do, commands us to do. All right. Because he's been given an abundance. So guess what? Apostle Tahar, Apostle Rakai, Apostle Gabar, Apostle Rakai, Apostle Ramlat, they use they give according to the abundance of knowledge that they have. All right. And it says, if thou have but a little, you see that? If thou have but a little, be not afraid to give according to that little. All right. So if you don't have that much, you give the little that you have. All right? Give the little that you have. All right? And it's going to tell us why. It says, for thou layest up a good treasure for thyself against the day of necessity. There you go. Yahushua even told us that. He said, stir up your treasures in heaven. And we do that by doing his work. We got a spiritual bank account in the heavens. All right? And when we do these lessons, we're doing the work of Yahweh Shemal Shai. And guess what? If you're of the elect, you're guaranteed to get paid. But you got to do the work. You got to use those talents. Use that portion that he gave you. All right? It says, for thou layest up treasure for thyself against the day of necessity. That's why the scriptures say, you can link this up with what's that, Isaiah? He said, my servant shall eat. and my servant shall drink. All right. He says, because that alms do deliver from death. You see? And suffer not to come into darkness. It says, for alms is a good gift. Well, this is going into something, but the point has been made. But you see, giving alms, that's a gift as well. Not everybody, has that really, But yeah, the point has been made, man. Give what you have, whether it's small, least, it may seem insignificant. Give what you have. All right. So yeah, Lord, when it's edifying to the next time I say shalom.